Valuing a bond that's between coupon rates. And this isn't hard, but there's a few hoops we have to jump through to understand this. Otherwise, bond valuation is incredibly simple, save this one little wrinkle. What I'm going to show you is the example in the notes is also the one that's in the textbook. It's also the one that's built into the Excel spreadsheet that if you have a chance to pull that down, we'll talk through that. So let's go through and illustrate this. But before we do this, let me talk through a couple of logistics. What's the cash flow associated with stock?
Capital gains, dividends.
Dividends, yeah. So we went through this a lot, earlier in the course. The dividend is an all or nothing thing. So if you own the stock on what's called the record date, you will get the entire dividend that the company pays. So if I bought the stock from Brian the day after the record date, then even though I own the stock, the dividend would still go to him because he owned the stock on the dividend, the record date. So they don't divvy it up. That's not the way it works in lending markets. In lending markets, I'm entitled to receive interest for every day I was the lender of record. So if I buy a bond for Brian in between coupon dates, we're going to have to figure out a way that he gets part of the interest and I get part of the interest. Spreadsheet that does the mechanical calculation. That's out in practice. So let's follow along with this, and then we'll show you the spreadsheet that does the mechanical calculation. So this was an actual bond. It's a bond actually that still exists. It's a Walmart bond, rated AA. If you notice the fine print, we're going to value this on March 21st of 2023. This is a bond that pays semi-annual coupons every June and December on the 26th of each month. So we're buying this in between coupon dates. So let me replicate this timeline here. So the last time it paid a coupon was on December 26th of 2022. Here we are today. And the next time it's going to pay a coupon in June. All right, so let me frame it like this. Brian currently owns this bond. But I'm going to buy it from him today. So the next time this bond pays a coupon, it's going to cover this entire 6-month period. No? Now, Brian is entitled to this much of the coupon, and I'm entitled to the rest. So, I'm buying it from him. Now, one thing we might think of doing, Brian and I, is to get on the phone and call the CFO at Walmart and say, hey, next time you pay out a coupon, why don't you send some of it to Brian and some of it to me? That may be good for a laugh, or not, but it's not going to happen. All right, here's what's going to happen. when I buy this bond from Brian, I'm going to have to pay him an amount that includes the accrued interest that he deserves. And then in June, the whole 6-month coupon will come to me. So I'll kind of prepay him his portion of the interest when I buy the bond. Everyone with me kind of conceptually here? Because mechanically it goes easily enough, I think, but let's see. Okay? So now in this case, we know the coupon rate is 3.7% annually, so 1.85 every 6 months. And the yield to maturity is about 4%, 3.9989, and so on. So we know yield to maturity. What's the value of the bond? We're going to do this in 3 steps. All right. First of all, we got to figure out what percentage of the year, or of the 6-month period, Brian has been the holder of the bond. How much of that period is he entitled to in terms of the interest payment? I won't even try to explain this rationally, but corporate bonds count time on what is called a 30-360 basis. They treat every month as if it had 30 days. Doesn't matter whether it's February or August. If it's a month, it's 30 days. So 12 months of 30 days is 360. Yeah, there's absolutely no same reason why that convention continues. But it does. That's not the way government bonds work, by the way. So on a 30-360 basis, December 26th to January 26th is one set of 30. January 26th to February 26th is another set of 30. And then we'll count the actual number of days from February 26th through March 21st. So that is 85. So in the 6-month period, Brian's piece of this is 85 over 1/80th. So slightly less than half is what he would be entitled to. And the rest is what I would deserve. Were this to come up in the future, I will give you those numbers. You don't have to. Would you like that? I'll show you the calculator. The spreadsheet program does that for you. So, here's where we're going to value the bond. It's a 3-step process. It's not hard, but we got to keep track of what's going on here. The first thing to do is to use our bond valuation formula. We have to be on a coupon date. We have to have one full coupon to the next payment. So, step 1, let's calculate a hypothetical number. We're going to go assume we're back on the last coupon date. But what makes it hypothetical is we're not going to look up what the bond was worth back in December. We're going to say, what would the bond have been worth last December using today's yield to maturity, the 3.998946. Okay? And in December of 2022, the bond matures in June of 28, so that would be 11 periods where we get half of 370 every period, and then one time, 11.5 years from now, we get our money back. So that would be 98.5371. That's the price of nothing That's an imaginary price. It isn't what the bond was actually worth back in December, because it's using today's market conditions for the year. But what it does is allow us to calculate step 2, which is to take this money and project it back forward to the purchase date of March 21st. So think about it this way: if we put this money in a savings account, earning that interest rate for 85 over 180 days, then that would grow to 99.4626. That's what's referred to as the total invoice price of the bond. That does matter. That is what I would actually pay Ryan to buy this bond. But that's a number that includes 2 things. It includes what the bond is actually worth today, plus the accrued interest that I owe him. So that's what's called the total invoice price. It's the total amount I end up having to pay. So then what we would want to do is just to net out how much of that is bond and how much of that is accrued interest. And the accrued interest is easy because it's just on a straight line basis. So I would take the interest for all 6 months, and 85 over 180 of it would be the 0.8736. So step 3 then would just be to net that out of the total invoice. And that's the 98.589. That's referred to as the flat price or the clean price of the bond. So the point I wanted to make is the bond price is quoted without accrued interest. So this is the delivery rate. So if I look this up, I'd say, oh, this bond is selling for 98.589. Oh, yeah, that's a good price. But then when I get the bill, it's going to be 99. Because what I'm going to have to pay Ryan is the value of the bond plus the accrued interest. Now, in 3 more months, when the bond pays its coupon, I'll get all of it. So I'm just kind of prepaying what's going to come back to me. But it's a bit of a convoluted process. So that's the only wrinkle in valuing bonds relative to we saw valuing stock was a lot more, kind of cantankerous in that sense, because we're having to project cash flows. We know the cash flows of bonds. So the only wrinkle is this between coupon dates thing. Let me show you, if you want to take a look at the spreadsheet, the workbook, there are 3 spreads in there. The middle one is called price between coupon date. This is set up for this example that we just calculated. So you can put in when we're buying the bond, the last coupon date, the next coupon date, and when it matures, the day count convention. It's set up so you can value your treasuries or corporates. The 360 is the corporate convention. Yield to maturity, coupon rate, and it does all the calculations for you. Total invoice price, the accrued interest, and then the net is the lateral price. So I guess what I want you guys to know, having done the bond, because this is any time you're not on a coupon. So how many times does a U.S. bond pay coupons? Twice a year. So what do you do the other 363 days? This. So once you understand the concept, the process isn't that hard, and you have a calculator that kind of shows you that. That's what I want to do. to show you this. So why don't we take a break, if we could maybe do just 10 minutes, because we got more to go.